They spent a combined 52 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. The common denominator: fired Oklahoma police chemist Joyce Gilchrist and former district attorney Bob Macy. This month, Fox 25's Britten Follett investigates how many other cases are in jeopardy and why Gilchrist has never been charged with a crime. Tonight, she examines 3 cases that fell victim to questionable science, fabricated evidence, and false testimony in her series, Gilchrist: The Damage Done. Britten.
Joyce Gilchrist testified and examined evidence in thousands of cases during her 20-year career as a chemist at the Oklahoma City Police Department. Known for her ability to get convictions and sway juries, her nickname became Black Magic, and she worked that magic in the 3 cases we're about to show you. Gene Weatherly.
From that point, it becomes a battle to try to prove your innocence.
David Bryson.
If you're going to be an innocent person in prison, you sure don't want to make it a sex crime.
Curtis McCarty.
And I knew by the 3rd day or so that I was going to be convicted of first-degree murder and I was going to go to prison for it.
3 men, once recognized only by their mugshots and the brutal crimes they were convicted of, now have become the faces of a failed criminal justice system.
Whenever they get you and they arrest you and they process you, they're going to do everything they have to do to see to it that they get the person that they want.
In January of 1984, Gene Weatherly was arrested for stabbing a woman in this home 30 times and leaving her for dead. A neighbor told police Weatherly resembled the police sketch of the suspect.
Said, I know several people that resemble that, even my next door neighbor does, and that's where I originally became a suspect.
But police reports show the victim first identified a different man as her attacker. He committed suicide several days after the crime. Investigators say they ruled him out because his fingerprints did not match the scene. When Weatherly went to trial, police testified there were no fingerprints.
Pick anyone out at random and just prosecute them and send them on to prison, and that's what they did.
How did prosecutors tie Weatherly to the crime scene? Fired police chemist Joyce Gilchrist testified fibers on his shoe matched fibers at the crime scene. Years later, the FBI ruled Gilchrist's analysis of the evidence was faulty. Weatherly served his entire sentence. It was not until years after he was released that the governor pardoned him.
We fought it for years and years and years, and 26 years later, I'm still fighting.
David Bryson spent 17 years in prison, convicted of rape, kidnapping, and oral sodomy.
17 years, 10 days. All for something you didn't do. All for evidence and tests and so forth that were made to look like you did it when it was all falsified.
In 1982, prosecutors argued Bryson kidnapped and raped a woman near this intersection. The woman says she bit down on her attacker's penis. Bryson only became a suspect because he had a similar injury.
Murphy's Law at its best.
Joyce Gilchrist testified semen, hair, and blood linked Bryson to the crime, but DNA evidence eventually freed him from prison.
Well, that because of my lifestyle, I end up at the police department answering questions about a homicide.
Curtis McCarty was convicted and sentenced to death for the 1982 rape and murder of Pamela Willis. The key witness, Joyce Gilchrist.
She told the jury, a death-qualified jury, that the biological evidence collected at the crime scene on the night of Pam's death all matched me.
McCarty had initially been eliminated as a suspect. 3 years later, police arrested him for murder.
And they had heard a rumor that I told someone that I knew who killed Pam, that I had said that it was my drug connection who did it, and that's not true. I had only repeated a rumor myself that it must have been her drug connection that did it.
Even though DNA and hair samples did not match and Gilchrist was fired, McCarty spent 21 years in prison, 16 on death row.
I still kept up hope all of them years. Even once they started executing my neighbors and those men began to die, and knowing that someday my turn may come.
The day he was released, the district attorney and the judge said they still believed McCarty was involved in Pamela Willis's murder, which is why for McCarty and the 2 men sitting next to him, freedom is relative.
In my case, it will never be over with till the day I go on home to God.
Former Oklahoma County District Attorney Bob Macy prosecuted all 3 cases. The first newspaper report questioning Macy's prosecutions and Joyce Gilchrist's testimony surfaced in October of 1987. And even though her work was later questioned at the national level, she was promoted before she was finally fired in 2001. Joyce Gilchrist's testimony led to the execution of at least a dozen inmates. Michael.
Thank you, Britten. Tomorrow night at 9, we continue our series, Gilchrist, The Damage Done. Bryson, Weatherly, and McCarty answer the tough questions about the Oklahoma County criminal justice system.
All three of you have blamed Joyce Gilchrist and Bob Macy for putting you in the seat you're in today. Do you forgive them?
We examine the injustice surrounding so many questionable convictions. Take a look at how Macy and Gilchrist have denied any wrongdoing, and take a look at why Gilchrist has never been charged.